Hi, I'm Lila of Nevillution, and today I'll be reading quotes and giving my own commentary on Neville Goddard's 1969 lecture, The Light of the World, human voiced for human voice lovers. And I'll also be taking you along to share my birthday. I turned 53 in 2026, though I feel eternally 20-something. And let me tell you, Neville's words in these lectures, they're so deep and profound. I feel healing and energized by them, and I hope you will too. Neville says, "The day will come when you will know you are not only the light of the world, but that you are the sender of infinite, pulsing, living light, of which there is no circumference. As light you will be pure, as not a thing will be in it, no worlds, no suns, no planets, but nothing, just you, and you are infinite light. You will see me as light, yet we will know one another as beings of love, for God is love, and in that awareness we are one with God. Eventually everyone will return to the one being, yet all will be individualized. There's no absorption into, just union with the one being of love, power, wisdom, and light. And so I repeat, of all the great revelations which await us, there's none so fundamental as the unveiling of Christ in us. I know we sit here and we listen, and we feel we're this tangible body of flesh that can be tossed and turned in the waves of life. But it's so beautiful what Neville's teaching here, that we are beyond this. We are pure love, divine energy, radiant lights that can merge together, and yet the essence of our consciousness remains. And that's why it's important to sometimes turn away from the world and read or listen to the mystics, contemplate, or just enjoy these great truths, especially as you experience them yourselves. Neville goes on, "Let the world do all the unlovely things it is capable of doing, remembering that behind the mask of everyone here, a being is buried who will awaken, rise, and come out. And when he does, all will be forgiven, because he will know he was the one who did the unlovely acts as he wore his many masks." In last Sunday's New York Times Magazine, I read a story written by one of Hitler's right-hand men. In it he said, I cannot describe it, but Hitler had the capacity to make everyone obey his will. He seemed to have no center and was in such complete control of himself that we were like puppets to him. Hitler slaughtered millions, yet blamed his own people when he did not succeed, saying, "The stronger power has succeeded. They will rule now. It serves my people right." Here is the voice of hell, which is always self-justification. In the end, Hitler failed and blamed the people he had controlled for many years. He thought he had control forever, but he lost it. For God has planned everything as it has come out, and as it will be consummated. Hitler was used for a purpose. To use it was a horrible purpose. But as we are told in Genesis, you intended it for evil, but God meant it for good. Joseph, the dreamer in you, was sold into slavery, for God knew he could be used for his purpose. The brothers intended evil against him, but God meant it for good and raised Joseph to the level of the Pharaoh, where he saved civilization from starvation. Read the story of Job, and once again you read of an innocent man who was used. Everyone is Job, who in the end will bring forth that which is buried within, which is the plan of redemption. To say with Job, I've heard of thee with the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees thee. After you have gone through all of the furnaces, he who is buried within you, who is your reality of being, your true identity, will erupt like a tree coming into blossom and bear its fruit. The first fruit to appear is your awakening and your birth from above. The second great event is to discover your fatherhood. The third occurs as you ascend back into the heavenly sphere where you were before you came down. For no one returns to heaven but he who first came down from heaven, the Son of Man. You came down from heaven. That's why you are going to go back, enhanced by the experience of this world of hell. The fourth act is a glorious one, when the seal of approval is placed upon your return, for then you are redeemed. And when you leave this sphere, You will join your brothers to become one of the watchers from above, faithfully and lovingly awaiting their return. Neville says no one will be lost, not one, and to listen carefully. All will be changed. Paul begins his story by saying, "Behold, I tell you a mystery. That mystery is that all will be changed. It doesn't take long. In the moment, in the twinkle of an eye, you begin to awaken and are born from above. Those with mortal eyes cannot see spirit, but those who witness your spiritual birth will see the sign of it. That sign is a child fulfilling Scripture. Unto you a child is born, for your spiritual birth is when God is born. At that moment he brings back his son, which is yourself. Only now you are expanded from what you were prior to your descent into the world." And in a sense, as Neville says here, you will become, like all-knowing, ever-new continuous bliss, as the late great Eastern mystic Paramahansa once said. And I know there are a lot of very sensitive people who are aware, and they might feel very unlovely things are happening in the world, between the common men and women and the fall of morals and self-respect, to those that rule above the common man, and what many feel are the secret societies. But behind all is all the great consciousness. There is some role to be played in the great awakening of all. Perhaps we go through, as Neville said, the furnaces of hell, that we awaken from the fleshly prison, awaken from the dreams of limitation. How else to know? We are one with God, one with the Creator, Sustainer, and Destroyer of all, that in the dream we are created, and yet we can rise in the dream and create. And as we know, the mystical truths create in a way that no one can stop, unless we fall back asleep. In some ways you can think of how the snowflake falls in the right place, and we must have the conviction to believe everything will lead back to grace and love and joy. And may we rise above the repeating cycles of the rise and fall of empires and spiral up in consciousness, where we will remain in it yet beyond it, enjoying without being burned, awake, lucid. And getting back to Neville, tomorrow you may be carried away with the news of the day. Although it may be very exciting, it is not important. What someone did does not matter, and the reason it was done should not interest you. Rather, you should be interested in the collective sayings of the wise, all found in Scripture and given to you by the one shepherd. Dwell upon the words recorded there and try to find out what is being said. "Who are you?" they asked. "Even what I have told you from the beginning. Yes, I am the same being who spoke to you when we all gathered together in eternity. Before we came down, you and I were one, calling you gods, sons of the Most High. I told you we were going to have the experience of dying and falling as one man, and then I called you princess. And one day you will know yourself to be the Prince of Light, the Prince of Love, the Prince of Power. For everything recorded in Scripture will be experienced by you. That is your destiny." And reflecting on Neville's words here, it is so true and so important. So many of us are caught up with the gossip on social media or TV or even in our own friend circles. And I remember reading recently, it's amazing how today we're so inundated with information. You know, back in the day with our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, they might read a few newspapers a day, if that. But now we read so much information, it's equivalent to reading like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of newspapers every day. And now that we're made aware of this, we have to put a stop to that, because we don't want to drown in facts and forget our divinity and forget our own power, that we become the puppets of someone else. So turn away or limit excess TV, excess social media, people who gossip too much. Now, Neville did say, don't lose yourself in being a reader, but be a doer. And the funny thing is, some people I've heard have stopped reading Neville, but instead they're being flooded with all kinds of gossip and news all over the place. So put it in perspective and in balance. Allow yourself to have space and just breathe, to just be, and to have your imaginal sessions, and to take care of yourself, to have a good vessel, to allow all this divinity to blossom forward until you know yourself as consciousness, as light, and then nothing is needed, for you are grace. And in your spare time, fill your mind with great truths, with great words, because you are what you eat, not just physically in Caesar's world, but also mentally. And let us go back to Neville once again. In closing, Neville says, It would be my pleasure to pass my immortal eyes unto you who are here, but I cannot do it from this level. It must be done from a higher level, done with the consent of the Watchers in eternity, those who are already redeemed from this world. It seems stupid for a little man, weak and limited, to claim to be the infinite, living, pulsing light. Yet those to whom I've given my eyes have seen me as the Prince of Light, the Prince of Love, and the Prince of Power and Wisdom. Before we go into the silence, I want to wish each and every one of you a happy birthday. I may not be able to wish you all each individually and catch your birthdays right on the exact day, but I wish you a great birthday. I wish you every day to be reborn from above. The gift for you to feel and wear it like a fragrance that you already are the person you want to be and already doing what you want to be. And may we all remember the eternal light that we are, that connects us all. And may all other illusions be burned away in the piercing fire of awareness and wisdom, that we may glow even more infinitely brighter and brighter forever and ever. I love you all. And now let us go into the silence. Good.